Welcome to the History Rhymes podcast.
So when we talk about Caesar, what are the first two things that come to mind when you hear Caesar?
Salad.
Yeah, heck yeah.
Yeah. And stabbings.
Okay.
That's the first two.
Both things you experience at Olive Garden.
I tend to stab salads.
When you go to Olive
in the
Garden,
back.
guaranteed you will see a stabbing and you'll eat some salad.
You'll eat some salad. You might get a crouton.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Well,
we do want to discuss who did invent the crouton as well on today's episode.
Yeah.
Highly debated
probably
subject
a Frenchman.
matter.
Crouton?
No. It's clearly an Italian.
Crouton's Italian?
Well, Italian and French are both Latin-based languages. So
And they're very
crouton
close,
actually
very-
comes from the Latin.
Very close history. We'll
Yes.
save that for our Napoleon episode, actually.
And another great salad.
I believe he broke his military units up into croutons.
Really?
And they were in squares.
Interesting.
So
The finest battle shape.
a lot of people base so the Caesar salad, nothing to do with this Caesar. It's almost sad that this man who kind of like is probably top 4 figures in history,
And he's a salad.
and he's salad now. It's actually he would almost be horrified by that if he knew that, right? So
I don't know. I think some people would like these. It's like kind of having like a bunch of action figures made out of you from being a star in
if
a
you
film.
couldn't
It's
digest
like,
them very well.
maybe some people don't like that.
So Caesar saw himself walking in the footsteps of Alexander the Great.
Mm-hmm.
And in the footsteps of even Achilles from the Iliad. And
Really?
so it would
he
be very...
compared himself to Achilles.
Alexander compares himself to Achilles, and Caesar really compares himself to Alexander. And then Napoleon's going to compare himself to
by associate,
Caesar.
but it's a linear thing.
Yeah, he's like... Achilles is like his...
So everybody's really just like Achilles, or aspiring to be like Achilles.
Yeah, and of
He
course
is
Achilles
the
was
impetus.
depressed most of the time, just wondering if anyone would remember him.
Right.
Okay, so...
Wait.
go ahead.
Pardon me.
Yeah,
Achilles.
yeah,
Real person.
not really.
All right. Well, that's good to know. Let's get some of the important things out of the
Yeah.
way that most people are going to associate with
Yeah.
Caesar. Number one, we've covered Caesar salad
Yeah.
and the Caesarian.
Yeah, okay, the Caesarian. So...
Yes.
I actually don't know which Caesar it was named after. I'm not sure why. It's not named after this one.
Right.
We know. So Caesar's born in 100 BC. It's a nice number for him to be born in because then we can just subtract and then we know how old he is wherever we're going through dates. I always found it really nice. I wrote one of my main papers in my undergrad on Caesar, and I found that math tidbit nice.
That's a nice little tidbit.
So he's born around 100 BC, but
Right.
his mother Aurelia is going to play a significant role in his life. And generally, if you had a cesarean, you didn't survive back then. Like
Right.
it's slicing the woman open to get the baby out. It's brutal. So in Rome around 100 BC, you see the map here, like the green. Rome is not, or is it the green? Yeah, green and the orange there combined. Rome is not the massive Roman Empire that we've come to know and love. It is still growing. They've beaten Carthage, the mighty Carthaginian Empire, in 2 Punic Wars. And then they've also they've defeated the Macedonian Empire, as you can see. So they have Greece and they have Asia Minor over there, which is modern Turkey. But it's growing. It's growing. And with that growth, things actually become quite tumultuous politically. So there's going to be civil wars where Rome at the time, you could call it an oligarchy, like we would call it a republic, but it's really ruled by these senators. And they're not like, you're part of a class and you became a senator.
Right.
So it's kind of the rule of the elite, rule of the wealthy. And they would vote on stuff, and there would be people who voted for the consuls and everything. And the consuls, there'd be 2 each year, and they were kind of like the presidents. But as this goes on and Rome is expanding, it's becoming much more cataclysmic. And it's like, can a republic exist as the military is expanding and individuals are becoming more and more powerful?
Everybody's too spread thin, decentralized command. There's too much power to manage, and people are taking power where they see fit.
Yeah.
Because they don't have oversight. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, and I'm also
Does this
saying like
by
when
nature cause instability?
it is, and it's also interesting where like if we want to see, okay, where does this rhyme in the 20th century? The United States was not a military power; it was an economic power before World War II.
Right.
And by the end of World War II, it's now the greatest military power on earth. But at the same time, you have this military-industrial complex growing. And it becomes very powerful, where military contractors are able to bribe and pay for lobbying and pay for senators and congressmen. And you start seeing these wars that are kind of, so it's like, can democracy exist within a large military complex?
Right.
Right. And when Eisenhower finishes as president, he leaves with this famous speech in 1960, where it's either 59 or 60, where he warns the American population about the dangers of this military industrial complex.
Right.
That it will actually be the power in government. So there's already at 100 BC a threat to this idea of the republic. And there are two parties in ancient, and they're not like modern political parties. They're groups of people.
And sorry, at this point in history, how long has the Roman Empire been established?
Yeah.
I'm sorry if I missed that part.
No, I didn't.
You didn't say that.
Yeah, you got it. Because I'll just jump right in at 100 BC, but there's a lot of course, we don't need to go through the entire.
We obviously know that it's in the...
Rome was first a monarchy.
Right.
And there was a series of kings, and they were overthrown and kicked out. The last king was overthrown. Tarquin was the last king.
Sounds like a Star
and
Wars.
And he's overthrown
Sith
by
Lord.
I believe his full name was Marcus Junius Brutus. The same name of course, one of Caesar's main assassins.
I miss names like that.
Yeah,
I
Brutus.
wish I had names.
Well,
like
yeah,
that,
'cause
which
so-
we won't reveal any of. My
No,
names
not
today,
yours. But like
other
so
than
for a
John.
Roman, the first name was kind of their like casual name.
Mm-hmm.
The middle name was their family name.
Right.
So like Julius, it's Gaius Julius Caesar.
Mm-hmm.
Julius means he's of the family Julii. He's of the Julii clan.
Okay.
And Marcus Junius Brutus, he's of the Junii clan. Now the Julii,
And how many people are in these clans? at
they're
any
large
given
families.
time?
They're large families,
Like cousins and all that
powerful,
stuff.
powerful families.
Right.
Yeah. So anyway, so the Romans actually they steal most of Romans
Stole.
mythology and stuff and their architecture they steal from the Greeks and make it better.
Right.
So the Athenian democracy is said the Cleistinian democracy is founded in 509 BC.
Right.
And so the Romans just took that date and they said, oh, that's the same date that we kicked out the last king and formed a republic.
Right.
So
And
509
they're very
BC.
proud of the
So at
republic.
this point,
What was the necessity for forming a republic from a monarchy? We're talking about how a republic is at risk when it gets too big.
Yeah.
But how did a monarchy collapse or transition into a republic?
I mean, that's a good question. I mean, that's something that, like, what do you think? Like, what do you think would be the benefit of having, and really when we're talking about a republic with Rome, we're not necessarily talking about the modern American republic.
No.
We're talking about 300 senators who are running the show. They're electing each other into various positions of power in the bureaucracy.
And are they coming from different regions like we elect folks these days and our MPs and all that stuff?
So they're all from Rome,
Right.
or the outside of Rome. As time would go on, and Caesar will do this later, he'll bring in some senators from Gaul when he conquers it, and that's one of the reasons they're going to kill him.
Right.
But at the time that Caesar's born, his father is a minor senator. And it was a class of people.
Okay.
But so when you think about, like, if there's one person in charge for a monarchy, and if the monarch's not doing a good job of
People
distributing
revolt.
power, eventually people are going to go, okay, well, what if we form a more group idea?
Right.
And,
who comes up with that idea in Rome, though? Like, obviously, a monarchy is not going to, the king isn't going to want to give up his power unless he's like, you know what, guys, this just isn't working anymore. Here's my crown, make it into a bunch of rings and coins, and have fun.
I'm exhausted.
I'm just so tired of this. Family name, Giuliano's. We're out. We're going to go get a villa.
Like, I could just
In,
farm.
Sicily.
I have a lot of money. I could just farm.
Okay, yeah.
Actually, like,
I just want the rural life.
I mean, there's a lot, like emperors, like Tiberius will kind of do that. He'll retire. He's like, man, this sucks. Like, he goes to a nice island, Capri, off of the Italian coast, and just like,
Which isn't on this map yet.
No, it's
it
not.
It hadn't
It's
formed
not.
at that time. It's kind of like Dubai.
The tectonic plates.
Yeah. So they were still merging.
What was his name?
Pangea had just finished.
Diocletian, he also retired to his farm.
Yeah.
Like, eventually guys are like, this is too much. I don't actually know how the Roman Republic was I know there was powerful families
Right.
who recognized that a deal had to be struck. They were aware of Greece, where the Athenian democracy was functioning. It was becoming a major power in the Mediterranean.
Okay.
In 509, you're heading towards, because we count count down with the BC, the before Christ. So you're heading into that kind of era of the Persian Wars in 490 and 480. And so Athens is about to emerge as a major, if not the major naval power in the Mediterranean. And they have a functioning direct democracy where they would have like 6,000 citizens would come together to debate, yell, vote on everything.
Right.
That's direct democracy. We have indirect democracy where we vote for a guy who goes to Ottawa and then lies to us.
We're Canadian.
Yeah.
We're not drawing any parallels to that today.
Yeah, no. So, okay, so, great question. I don't actually know in 509 BC exactly how the Roman Republic formed. It's kind of forming over time.
Right.
And it's like the American Republic, it's going to evolve.
Right.
And we're going to see some of that evolution in Caesar's time. So by Caesar's time, there were two parties that had formed, not like Republican and Democrat, but groups of people. There was the populares.
Right.
And forgive my Latin pronunciation.
That's okay.
Whatever.
No one in
populares, they were the people's champions. We can think of them as the populace.
Right.
They recognized that there was power to be gained from the everyday human being who did vote for consuls. They did vote for tribunes and stuff like that. And then there was the optimates. And these, you could think of them as the old senatorial class, the conservatives. They were the ones who were like, no, the power should be with just a few handful of men. Okay. So Rome at this time controls that area. It's growing. It's expanding. And what happens as Caesar's growing up? So Caesar, we don't know much about his early childhood. We know that young Romans were taught in their three main values: dignitas, pietas, and virtus. Right? So dignity, piety, and virtue.
Right.
Romans took themselves very seriously. There was like Roman virtue. Whereas the Greeks were just, having a good time.
Just flexing, getting statues made.
Yeah, I mean,
lawn bowling. Sorry, doing shot put.
Yeah. Okay, shot put. That's what
Discus. They're throwing stuff.
Yeah. They're wrestling.
They hadn't quite figured out the Frisbee.
No.
Flying disc, sorry.
They didn't do it. They did it. Yeah. It was heavy.